Oh, hey there. So I have to go through trials often, and not necessarily trials in front of a court and a jury and things like that, although I have been through a few of those myself for lawsuits, not for criminal activity. And in the last couple weeks, I've had to go through a few of these. Okay, so as you guys know, I've been trying to subdivide land in Kennedale for 4 years and 3 months. I had to jump through more hoops than I want to even talk about and pay more money than I even want to talk about. And it just seemed like roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. They just say, oh, one more thing and one more thing. I'd do that. And oh, now there's 2 more things, 5 more things, 3 more things, 10 more things, whatever it was. And when I finally got to and now we're gonna have a planning and zoning committee meeting about your property, I'm like, they're gonna find some problem. But I jumped through a lot of hoops and paid a lot of money, and I showed up, and the truth was I did know, by this point, I know most of the people on city council, the mayor, city manager, and planning and zoning, and all these type of people. And so I did know them, and I have worked with them, and I've tried to be as kind and patient as I possibly can and understanding of the fact that they're just doing their job or whatever. And when it finally came down to it, I didn't stand up. They just said, we are, John's here and he's trying to do Fig Tree Estates. And so all in favor, and it was already on their paperwork, all in favor, and everybody raised their hand, and all opposed, and nobody did. And they're like, it's unanimous then, next. And I was like, hold on. Was it really just that easy? Now, it wasn't, okay, because of all the stuff I did before. But by the time it finally came down to my trial, if you will, it was literally like, we all know you. You've done all the things you're supposed to do. We know that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. We trust you, and you're approved. And I was like, oh, thank God. Then one of the ex-city council members calls me up, and he says, by the way, there's another step you got to go through. I'm like, of course there is. Why wouldn't there be another step? Because there's a city council meeting, you got to go to that too. So I showed up, and I went and talked to the guy I've been talking to, and he's nice. And he says, basically all these things were in one block. If they want to single anything out, then they can single it out and talk about that, and possibly not do it, or they're just going to approve everything at once because we've got a lot to do. So I sat through all the other formalities of a city council meeting, which is not really my favorite thing in the world to do. And it came down to my part, and one of them pipes up and goes, I'd like to talk about number 6. And I was like, am I number 6? Please don't talk about me. I just want you to stamp it. Just give me the check mark, and then let's be done with this. And my heart kind of skipped a beat, and I looked down, and I'm like, oh, I'm number 4. This is so much better. And so they're like, okay, so can we agree that 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, we can approve? And they're like, all in favor, all opposed, unanimous decision, this is approved, and it moves on. I was like, I wanted to jump up for joy because it's been so long, right? And I think often about Judgment Day. All I want to do in my life is when Judgment Day comes, for Jesus to look at me and say, well done, good and faithful servant. That is all I want to hear him say. I just want to hear him say, I told you to do these things, and you did those things. I told you to live like I was coming back at any moment, and then you lived like I was coming back at any moment. You were kind to me. When I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. When I was naked, you gave me clothes. When I needed shelter, you helped me. Come into your glory. All in favor. And it's unanimous. Now, it's not because of what I did, okay? It's because his blood paid the price for me. His blood is over me. God doesn't see my sin anymore. He sees Jesus' righteousness. But more than anything in the world, in my life, my entire life is dedicated to hearing that one sentence. Well done, good and faithful servant. Love you guys.